Alrighty, welcome back to episode 4 of Call Out Podcast.
Episode 4.
This week, I just feel like I have a lot to talk about. So much has happened since the last time we talked.
True. Yeah, because we skipped a week, but
yeah.
that's okay.
A lot has happened.
A lot, and we were like thinking about doing a couple of other things, but then Jess was just like, I actually have like a couple of recent stories from work, so we're going to do like Violence in the Workplace Take 2.
Again.
Surprise Violence in the Workplace Take 2 episode, because, you know, our episodes are only 30 minutes, and there's a lot to go over, which is crazy that we could like really go on for hours about that kind of stuff. But
right.
We've got notes. Jess has notes. I have notes. Yeah. So if you guys follow us on Instagram, it was last week that you posted twice on your story in the same day where you were like, oh, you know, calling security again.
Twice. 4 8 in the morning. Yeah, so what happened was, there was a patient who, he wasn't mine, but I guess they kept
Were you in charge
switching
that
his
day?
diet. I was in charge that day. I was
Okay.
on the overflow unit, so it was only 2 nurses, including myself, 1 PCA, and the secretary.
There were 2 nurses, and you were one of them.
Yeah.
And there were only 2 nurses?
There's 11 patients, yeah. So there's 2 of us. There's 2 nurses. I know it sounds scary.
That's weird.
Yeah.
What do they do? Like open up a floor sometimes? If
Yeah,
med-surg is full?
overflow. Yeah. So like they try to put like the independent or like not super heavy people there.
I remember this when I worked there.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like we called it OBS.
Mm-hmm.
But they have like an ED OBS unit downstairs, but they do like
For
an overflow
med-surg.
somewhere else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
A med-surg overflow. Yeah. So and then like sometimes if there's like not enough patients, like it's not 11,
Sure.
there'll be 1 nurse.
Oh.
So if there's only like 5 patients, they'll put 1 nurse
Yeah.
and 1 PCA. Whatever.
I feel
So
like
they-
you should have a friend. Like, I feel
Yeah,
like you should
you get,
always
like-
have a friend to, like,
I feel like you
bounce
should always have a
ideas
friend,
off
too.
of.
Or in case something
Or
happens.
in case
I don't
something
know.
happens.
Yeah, it sounds
Okay.
right, but
All right, so anyway,
anyway, so I guess I kept switching his diet, and he was really mad about it. So I just finished getting work.
Yeah, something to be so violent about.
Very mad.
Oh.
So he's an independent patient. He walks up to the front desk, and he's like freaking out about his diet. He's like, "Where's the doctor? They changed my diet." I was like, "Okay, like hold on a second. What's happening?" And then like this is not the first time that he's gotten mad. And then he's arguing with the PAA at the front desk.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, "Stop being rude." And he's like, "Don't tell me what to fucking do." They were just going back and forth. And I was like, this is so early. I was like, just call security. I don't want to fucking deal with this right now.
Yeah,
like,
we
I
need
just,
we need, like, a referee.
we need, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like, he was a big man. And so we called security. They came down. He calmed down. We changed his diet. The doctor changed his diet again. And then, all was good. He had his breakfast. And then a few hours later, I'm in rounds. It's like 1 o'clock. We do rounds at 1. I'm sitting there, and I hear a big bang. So I come outside, and he's like, he walked into the bathroom, slams the door, and then like the other nurse, and she's training somebody, was like, "Oh," and I was like, "What's happening? Like, what's going on?" And she's like, "He's mad." And I'm like, "I got that, but like, but like, why?" So then he comes. See him come out of the room, and he's like throwing a fit. He's throwing his clothes on. He's yelling, and I'm like, "What's wrong?" Like, I'm like in between the two. I'm like, "What's happening?" And he's like, "They changed my diet again without telling me." I was like, "Okay." I was like, so what?
People act like they're not in the hospital. Like, if you don't work in healthcare, like when you're in the hospital, you're like in our house. Unfortunately, like you are not in your own zone to make your own rules and regulations. You're in the
No.
hospital because something's wrong with you, and you have to have a changed daily life for a couple of days. Just so we can like fix what's wrong with you, and then you can go back home and do like whatever you want.
Can I also tell you that
Doctors can change your order whenever they want. They're doctors in charge of your care. Anyway, so yeah,
I'm wrong.
that's allowed.
That is that's right.
It's allowed.
So they changed it from a regular diet
Mm-hmm.
to a low fiber diet because he comes in with diverticulitis.
Okay. Well, no, you should have high fiber when you've got diverticulitis because it helps you poop.
One of the two. I know they changed it to. I think it was they changed it to low fiber.
Was he having
I don't know.
diarrhea?
I don't know. I didn't know him.
Why would
He wasn't
anybody
my
get
patient.
so that upset about
But
fiber?
it wasn't
Who
like
gets that upset about fiber?
it wasn't like a regular diet to like NPO or like liquid.
Clear liquids,
You know,
or
it was
something
still like food.
that.
It was still like solid
Yeah,
food.
right.
But anyway, so they changed
We
it from
felt
the
very
regular
violent about
to the fiber one.
Yeah,
Freaked the fuck out.
again.
Literally. So, and he threw a computer. But the Big Bang was the big wows that we have, he literally took it and like threw it on the fucking ground. And it's just broken all over the place. And I was like, holy shit. I've never had somebody actually break equipment like that.
Yeah, like,
or like
really damaged stuff.
Yeah.
Like, so like wows are like standing computers that have like a very heavy base on wheels, and the computer's like in a desk, and then there's drawers that has crap, and then there's like it's huge. It's not like
they're heavy.
Well, they're heavy. They're big.
Yeah.
They're you know, they can be 6 feet tall because they raise up, like they are big, heavy pieces of equipment.
I literally like deadlifted or squatted to pick this thing back up. Because
What'd he do? Did he like come outside and just like push it over or something?
I wasn't around.
You didn't see it.
So like as that's happening, like he's freaking out. I go into the other nurse was like, it's a very small unit. So the other nurse was like, can we priority text the doctor? I'm like, just go get her. She's in there.
Yeah,
go
just
get her.
Just go get her.
So I go get her. I like interrupt and I was like,
Did somebody call security at this point?
Oh yeah, we
Okay,
called
good.
security again.
Okay.
I was like, can you please do something? Like I just, I need you out here. She's like, okay, like in a minute, we're almost done. I come back out, security's there, and he's like trying to leave. And then the nurse is like, I need to take your IV out. He's like, don't tell me what I can and can't fucking do. I'm like, no, like we really need to take your IV out.
That's literally
Or
the
I
only
have to
thing I
call-
have to do.
Only thing I have to do.
To do,
Before I
yeah.
even finish a sentence, he grabs it and rips it out
Ew.
and throws it on the floor.
Ew.
And then he's still yelling. So I interrupt rounds again, and I was like, you need to come out here, and I want him gone. I was like, I'm not dealing with this anymore. This is
Right.
the second time he's called security.
Right.
I want him gone.
He needs to be AMA'd
yeah,
or
like distraught. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like just he needs to leave.
right.
So then she comes out. She talks to him. We get the paperwork. Whatever. So
he's gonna
eventually-
leave.
So he left.
Okay.
He left, and that was it with him. But like, I was talking to the case coordinator afterwards, and she's like, somebody needs to flag that like he's an aggressive patient. I think he's been there multiple times, and this is not the first time that he's had an episode like that.
Sure.
So he needs to be flagged. She's like, what if he comes in next time, and then they get close, and he gets mad, and he like,
Harm somebody.
hurt somebody. Yeah. I mean, you threw a computer, and you're freaking out over food. What if it's something more
Serious
serious.
and truly violent. But like this is serious and like it is violent. Even though that
Right.
nobody was like hit or physically harmed or anything. Like again, he's throwing like 100-pound piece of equipment
You
on the
damaged
ground.
and like
And you're slamming doors and ripping out IVs over a diet
over
change.
food. So I don't know. I think that like
dramatic.
a little dramatic.
A little dramatic.
I just think that like when people do this kind of thing, like it's very, it's a fine line, because like it's not a fine line. It's just hard because they're patients who are sick, right?
Yes.
They come into the hospital to be treated.
Yes.
But don't do, like, you can't do that. You
No,
come
you
to the
can't do
hospital to
that.
be treated.
Yeah.
We're doing things to treat you, and then
Yep.
you get upset about it.
Right.
Don't fucking throw shit and, like, yell in my face and, like, do all this stuff. Like, at that point, I wish we could do this. I wish we could tell people they need to leave.
Yeah, right. That
You know what I
that
mean?
you can just leave now.
You could- yeah,
please, if
right.
you're gonna be like this. I know with like the legalities and the ethics of it and stuff. Wait, okay, just to like
Absolutely.
reflect back for a second. So, how did he know that his diet was changed? Did the doctor come in and have a conversation? Because I
No.
know that some people have like access to my chart on their phones. And when I worked in the ED with Epic, that certain charting system, like people would get their diagnostic tests back or their blood tests back before the nurse or the doctor could like get in there
Oh, yeah.
and talk to them about it. And then they would be
Yes.
like, what does this mean? And what are you going to do about it? And am I dying? And this, that, and the other thing. And it's just like, this is why you shouldn't have like immediate access to all of your tests. So did
Yeah.
he see that it was changed, or did like his nurse?
No, I think the lunch trays came around.
Oh, okay, and then, like, the
they
ticket was
couldn't-
different?
Yeah, and it wasn't like what he ordered or something, and then
Oh
that's
my
why he freaked out.
God.
So that brings me to my next story.
Oh
This
my
is the second.
God.
I think I told you as this was happening.
I'm
I was
shocked that he still
also-
did that over fucking food.
It was all food. I've
It's
had
just
people
over
leave
food.
AMA because they were NPO for too long.
Because they were NPO for too
No,
long.
she, like-
People do that
Yeah,
all
no,
the time.
all the time. I'm like, I'm sorry, you have to be NPO. Nothing to eat or drink for a few more hours because you have a test coming up.
Yep.
And she literally
Yep.
was like, I can't fucking do this anymore.
Yeah.
Why are you doing this to me? And I'm
Yeah.
like, it's not torture.
I'm not,
It's
like, doing it
because
to you.
I'm not doing it to you. You want to get the test done.
Yes.
Because you came into the hospital.
Right.
It's just something we have to do. She left AMA. Literally left AMA. I'm like, I mean, all right, fine. Over food,
But people come back, like, immediately. And they're like, oh, yeah, I shouldn't have done that. And I'm like...
People get hangry.
Yeah, well, but I mean, like, it just...
Hangry.
It has to... It has to happen, unfortunately. People come to the ED and they, like, tell me that they have abdominal pain. And they're like, oh, it's because I haven't eaten. Can you order me a lunch tray? And I'm like, you came to the emergency department because you didn't eat today. That's, like, literally what people do. And I'm just like, oh, my God. And then I tell them that they have to be NPO until their CAT scan or their ultrasound comes back or their blood work or whatever. And they're like... I'm telling you my stomach hurts because I'm hungry and you're going to starve me? And I'm just like...
I've done that too before.
I'm like, what the...
You're starving my husband.
Yeah, yes, or that.
Right. Hours. And
you're
I'm like,
starving my 85-year-old grandmother. And I'm just like, no, I'm
you do
not.
realize you have to be NPO for a couple hours for this test. You came here to figure out what was wrong
with you. Yes, right.
You have to be NPO. Well, he's dehydrated.
I know.
Like, no, he's not.
No, he's not. I know he got 2 boluses down in the
not.
ED, and he's been on maintenance fluids ever since. He's
fine.
Fine.
As soon as this test is done, you can have whatever you want.
Right.
I don't know. You came to me.
Right. Or I tell people they can eat, and then they'll just have to be in the hospital for another day longer.
That's what I say, too. Push off your test that you've been begging to have.
Yeah, sure. Right. And you're going to really piss somebody off. You're going to piss the surgeon off or whatever.
You piss me off.
Piss me off.
Is there an extra day?
Because then
sure, we'll do this again
now
tomorrow.
I have you for the rest of my shit. No. Okay, anyway, so then it leads you into the next story. Yep.
So, again, I was charged that day on the floor for the 47 patients that we have.
Yeah, okay, so she's back on her usual unit, back on her full house.
And then I get called into a room because there was, obviously they're doubles, and this patient was freaking out on his, just to nobody, really. He was
screaming in the wind.
Just pretty much, his wife was sitting there, and he's just going on and on and on and on. And the nurse told me that, she had the patient by the door.
Okay.
And it was the patient by the window that was freaking out. So the patient by the door was telling her, I haven't slept that great because, my neighbor's kind of loud. And he heard it, and he starts freaking out. He's like, God, if I'm too loud, why don't you fucking say anything? You fucking pussy. You should have told, blah, blah, blah.
Oh,
and he's just
God.
going off and, on and on. And his wife
God.
was just like, yeah, So,
You're not going to control your husband?
Thank you.
When he's, popping off on a stranger like that?
So I come in, and I'm, standing there for, I don't know, a good few, 15, 20 seconds or so. And then I was like, hey, what's going on? Before I didn't even finish the sentence. And this guy was like, excuse me, you did not say, excuse me. I was like, okay, hold on. I was like, I'm sorry. He's like, no, get the fuck out of my face. I don't give a fuck if you're the chargers or not. Get the fuck out of my face. Leave me the fuck alone. I was like, sir, and he literally would not let me speak. And I was like, okay.
Attack dog.
Attack dog. I was like, call security.
Yeah.
And then we did.
Good.
We calmed down, right? Security came. Of course, they call. We calmed down. We settled it.
I had all the big men around you, and then suddenly people are silent.
I can't tell you how many times that happens.
That's so annoying.
And then, then, whatever, we fixed the situation. And then later on in the day, again, a few hours later, this is 4:00, I come out, I just grab water, I come out, and there's a whole scene outside the room. And I was like, what's going on again? And it was the psych doctor came to talk to the patient by the door.
Okay.
And she was like, how are you doing? How was your stay? And he
well.
was the patient by the door goes, I haven't been sleeping well. That's it. That's all he said. And then the bed shoe heard it, and he's like, man, I thought we fucking squashed this shit this morning. And again, took off. We just went off. And then it was so bad. He was saying things so bad that I just can't repeat on here. It was bad.
Yeah, very probably racially charged,
very racially,
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
it was
the language is
censored.
Filthy.
100% censored. And it was so bad that the patient by the door, he was like, he was like starting to shake. He was like, get me out of here. Very uncomfortable. So we like put him on a chair, on a pad. Like we couldn't find a wheelchair. And it was like, oh, fuck it. Like, we'll just get him out of here. So
I've done that before
like,
on like just like an office chair. You just put patients on it and you're just like, all right.
Just drag him out.
Yeah.
So, we dragged him out. He's freaking out again. But it was to the point where he was like threatening to have somebody bring in a gun to the hospital. He was like, I have them at home. Ooh. I'm going to have someone bring them in, and I'm going to kill you.
Oh,
like it was like to the like, and it wasn't just threatening him. I think it was like to the point of like threatening us.
Yes.
And like general.
Yes, like the hospital in general.
Yeah. Very.
This hospital as an entity is like a piece of shit, and like I'll come in and like shoot you up.
Yeah. So he was like, threatening to have somebody bringing guns and hurt everybody, and I was like, sir,
that's a no-no.
Did you not see the mutual care, mutual respect sign by the elevator?
Or
sir?
Ethics for this institution?
Excuse me, I will bring that big poster in here and we will talk about it.
It's like very elementary. It's like rainbow colored and stuff like that. It's like it's an irritating how like
what the fuck's
they try and like baby us, but it's funny because then you're just like, I don't feel like I'm being respected here, sir. Do you?
Where is the mutual respect?
I don't think that coming in and shooting me up before Christmas is very respectful. But
or, as I'm taking care of you,
right?
Like,
but you're not doing it. This is why I don't think that double rooms is like ever appropriate. Like I don't care how walkie-talkie, alert and oriented, like no contact precaution, no airborne precaution, no nothing. Like these people are like almost as clean as a whistle. They're there for a very patient confidentiality, patient privacy, just conflicting personality types. Obviously,
conflicting personality types is a big thing. That's why double rooms is wild to me.
Well, who are you supposed to cohort with this guy that's freaking out? No one. He has to be by himself now because
he got a private, and
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. He's got to be by himself in a room,
private, which is annoying. Because,
he doesn't deserve a private.
He doesn't deserve it, and that's what I said too. I was like,
but you can't put him with anybody.
I feel like I'm rewarding his behavior by giving him a private,
by giving him a huge,
nice private,
private room by him. Yeah,
and he took it away from somebody who should have been one. Well, somebody else was like on the borderline going to be comfort measures only.
Aww.
We were like this close, and Spotify, you can't see me, an inch away from being CMO, but he had to get the private room instead of the guy that's like going to die.
Yeah, so CMO is comfort measures only, and that's when people are nearing the very, very, very end of their life. They're like on the verge of passing away. So you give people private rooms so then like their families can come and visit them and just obviously have their quiet moments together while their family member passes. So they obviously deserve the room more than a hothead asshole.
But that's what I'm saying. Why can't I wish again we could just kick them out.
Yes, right. If you don't want to be here and if you're not going to be a decent human being, then you should probably go.
Why are you?
But you can't because if somebody dies or if somebody goes out and hurts themselves because you kick them out of the hospital for being a dick, like you get legally slapped for it, reprimanded for it.
Why can't they be legally slapped?
If
you assault a TSA officer, have you seen it? It's like $13,000 fine. It's literally all over in the airports. I can't remember the last time we flew. It was like assault a TSA officer, and it's like $13,000 fine or something like that. Maybe somebody double check me, but it's a lot.
No, right? It's like a good thousands and thousands.
If someone punches me in the face,
you have to. I mean,
what happens? I go to the ER.
Yes, and you could go to jail, but then that's like on your own money and time. But it seems as if like if you assault a TSA officer
that happens
at the airport. Because it's on airport property while the agent is on duty, you are automatically slapped with that fine, and that agent does not have to get their own resources like a lawyer to then go to court and fight for it on his own. Like, that's some nice backing from the company that the TSA agents, as an example, work for. Again, nurses, PCAs, doctors, etc. at the hospital. We are not backed even for $10.
No, somebody's gotten their arm broken on my floor by a patient.
Well, yeah, I texted you the other day because this girl who she was under arrest, so she was handcuffed to the bed by one arm, one ankle at all times. You get to have two appendages open, free. Yeah, but it's only one arm and one leg at a time. They rotate the sites so the cuffs don't hurt you. But so she was already like shackled to the bed, and she was being like very manipulatively like creepy nice my entire shift the other day, and like I was like, okay, well fine, you know, like we'll take it, right? Nice is nice. I'm not gonna, you know, we'll roll with that. And then I was texting Jess, and the following day she was still in the ED, and somehow she like got her hands on a pencil and she stabbed somebody with it. So
So now, who did she stab? A staff member?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
See, what? No, is she gonna get charged with anything?
No, I mean,
fine.
No,
Not.
she should. But
Probably
again,
not.
like if a patient stabs a staff member, the hospital should automatically be like, fine, charge,
Yeah, well,
assault charge.
What do you mean?
You are fined X amount of dollars
Right.
for physically harming somebody else.
I don't think anything happens. Like the person I also know, like not that long ago.
Okay.
She was like, the PCA was going into a room, and the patient was sitting in the chair by the radiator. I don't know what happened. I think it was like he was somewhat confused at the time.
The patient was.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she was taking his vitals, and he grabbed the stethoscope around her neck.
Yes.
And like, slammed her in her face first into the radiator.
Oh,
and like
no.
nothing. Then I took care of him like during that day and the next day.
And you're like.
And I was like, if anything, I was just like more angry. I was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, right. Like
You seriously just did that? And then he like got better, and he was less confused, and he was like, oh, I did that? And I'm like, yeah. But like nothing came of it. I don't think there was an extra fine on his hospital bill. There wasn't.
Yeah, right. Like
it was just kind of like a watch out, you know.
Yeah, like you're naughty.
Right.
Shame on you.
Don't make me put you in restraints.
No, in Epic, you can flag people for being violent, no?
I think you can, yeah, like being aggressive. I don't know how to do it, but
I think I remember doing that in the ED.
you can.
Because nurses in the ED, like, get floated to psych. And I think, like, in the banner, it would show, like, some type of, like, symbol showing that this person has like a potential to be
red flag.
Yeah, something like that. I don't remember. It was probably something a little less like obvious, something a little more obscure, where like if you saw it in somebody's chart, you're like, oh,
yellow flag.
Like that's a hothead over there, baby. Yeah, like we should have more of that there. I mean, you get used to the same patients. I'm sure you guys have like repeat offenders up on your med surg floors.
Yeah.
Like you guys get the same chronic people who are admitted for the same BS like all of the time, but that's the same like in the ED we get the same violent people in over and over and over again. So when you hear the patch come through or like you see their name populate on the track board and triage, you're like, crap.
Man.
Yep.
Put my boxing gloves on.
Yeah, right. We're gonna take everything off. We're gonna take our badge off. We're gonna take our stethoscope up. We're gonna like make sure our hair's like in a knot and not in like a ponytail or anything like that. And we are gonna stand, you know, like a good 5 or 6 feet away with our wow at all times.
Do
and
you have
like
your last name covered on your badge?
no, because it's my maiden name. And I have
okay.
legally changed my last name on everything, so you can't
search
find me, right?
I had to cover it.
Yep.
I had to cover it.
I often just flip my badge around though, and it stays that way the whole shift for the most part.
Oh.
But no, yeah, when I worked where you did, everybody had their last name covered.
Well, I covered it after again on the overflow unit, I found a patient doing drugs with her boyfriend.
Yeah.
And of course, I was like, I told her, I was like, your boyfriend has to leave.
When I'm in a place of healing. That's
such
a good idea.
Like, what are you doing here? Doing that? And I was like, he has to leave, and because I think you're doing some naughty things.
Right.
And she freaked out. Was asking
that you're like
for my
accusing
name.
her. Okay,
I was accusing her. She asked for me for my full name, and I was like, I don't have a last name.
Well, see,
none of your business. And then she left MA.
Yeah, they don't need to know your last name. They should not have it.
No,
like,
that's why it's covered. I don't.
Yeah, it can get. Yeah, it's too. No, see, the thing is that
which is also annoying.
People have a right to know who is in charge of their care, and I wholeheartedly believe that. But you can call medical records, and you can request copies of your records and stuff, and it will have like a full. I want to say spreadsheet, but that's not it. It's like a care team. it will have the lists. It has a list of everybody who took care of you, like down to the CAT scan tech, literally, their first and last name on it. So if you really want to press some charges, people can absolutely go that avenue, and you will figure out who did what to you if you feel as if they did you wrong. But in the moment, when somebody is hot and heavy and violent and being nasty, they should not have your last name, because it takes 30 seconds to Google you.
Right.
And they can leave the hospital and find you in the parking lot, or go to your house, or whatever, because your address is public. Voter registration for the town that you live in, for the most part, is public.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. Yep. So at least they know what town you're in, and then they could just narrow it down from there. It's like very easy, really, if you know people's last names, where to find them. So
some FBI shit.
That's just
it's not even that hard, but
some FBI shit. No, but it's not that hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't take that long to I just remember like doing that in high school. Like,
what are you searching?
Like boys.
What are you looking up? Oh,
like boys for your friends and stuff like that. If you wanted to get like some tea on them, trying to find like their MySpace and stuff.
Oh, I'm like, whose address are you looking up?
Yeah, but it's just like it really wasn't that hard. Like, you just like find the sports team that they were on, and then or whatever, their hockey league, and then it just like you just it's easy.
No, I definitely Google my name from time to time to make
see
sure.
how easy it is.
Yeah, but Jessica Biel pops up a lot. So.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it does, because it's so similar. Oh, it's by one letter, isn't it? Well, and an H.
I think, the H and the B.
Yeah. Oh, that's very funny.
I'll take it.
Yeah, Jessica Biel, that's who I am, people.
Right?
Ooh. Okay, sorry. My stepmom has a tape on the chairs for the kiddies. Oh boy. Okay, I got stuck. Okay, see, we almost burned a whole other episode of doing violence in the workplace. Like, we have 3.5 minutes left of this episode.
I feel like I could do violence in the workplace every other
episode.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, there's a story all the time.
Oh my gosh, all the time. See, this has only been the last 2 weeks.
Wait, one more story.
Okay, yes, you go.
Because this is disgusting. So there's this patient on my floor who I thought was very confused.
Okay.
I thought he was confused. Mm-hmm. He's bedbound, and he's so mean. He's so bad.
Right, like you think
so
he's so nasty that you think he's confused, because like how could you be alert and oriented and still this awful?
Exactly.
Good.
Racial slurs like to the max, to staff. He's so bad.
Oh, good.
And he was like he threw his ceramic plate and like he's throwing it at the wall in restraints. Don't ask me how that is, but
people find a way.
They find a way.
People find a way.
So he did that. He was like, he threw his knife. He was just doing everything. He was doing the most, this guy.
Do you guys get metal utensils?
Yes, we do, but not anymore.
Oh, not anymore.
So
we had a policy change.
Everybody else gets metal ones. He doesn't. Not anymore.
Okay, that's funny.
He gets paper plates and everything.
That's funny. Safety tray.
Yes.
Safety tray.
So before he was on my floor, he was on my husband's floor, and he was telling me that, I told him about what was going on. He was like, oh my gosh, he was on my floor before. And I was like, man, that guy is, confused as fuck. And he's like, no, he's not. I was like, you're shitting me. He's like, no, he's fully alert and oriented.
He just took terrible.
He peed in the urinal.
No.
And he hummed it at one of the, I think it was a PCA.
No. Like, I hate it when people take things full of pee
and throw it at you.
Throw it. That is
it's a vile thing to do.
It is a vile, it's a good word, it's vile.
It's vile. So it's, in that situation, when that happens, because we also had somebody on my floor, a different patient, that was like doing that. And the PCA, again, I was in charge that day. She was like, what do? I don't want to go in there. I was like, leave him.
Leave them. Seriously.
Seriously.
It's not worth it.
If they're pooping themselves on purpose and then throwing it at you, which has happened, just leave them. Leave them until they want to stop acting like a child.
Well, and that's assault, too. You throw bodily fluids at people, it's assault. Because they can be infected with things.
Yes.
And a lot of the time, you're in the hospital because your blood, your pee, or your poop is infected with something.
Really good point.
And with horrible, horrible infections that are, like, so hard to cure and fight off. To like touch on the teacher thing, because I'm sure a teacher or two listens to this. I had a patient yesterday who had like a 1/2 half moon scar like on her forehead above her eyebrow bone because a 5-year-old tripped her on purpose last year and she whacked her face on a bench on the way down. And I was just like, you know, it just it's never boring, that's for sure. Okay, we have 12 seconds. Thank you so much for listening to episode 4 and a nice impromptu episode. Okay, and just in case you needed it, this is your sign to call out.